Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Star Wars channel. I'm so glad you found your way here tonight. Maybe it's been a long day in your own galaxy, or maybe you just want to drift into the stars, where peace, balance, and destiny whisper like wind through the Force. There's nothing you need to do now, but rest. Let your breathing slow, your thoughts float like ships through hyperspace, and your heart grow still. Because tonight, we're not just falling asleep. We're journeying through the rise and fall of a legend. The story of a boy who dreamed of freedom, a hero who became a shadow, and a shadow who found his way back to the light. This is the story of Darth Vader and the man who lived beneath the mask. We'll wander softly through 100 quiet moments of his life, from the golden sands of Tatooine to the cold silence of space, from the hum of his first lightsaber to the final piece of the Force itself. So settle in, close your eyes, feel the rhythm of your breath, a steady echo of the galaxy's own heartbeat. And as we drift together through this story, remember that even in darkness, the Force still flows, calm, eternal, and kind. Now, take one deep breath, let it out slowly, and may the Force be with you, always. 1. The Slave of Tatooine. On the edge of the Dune Sea, under the watchful gaze of twin suns, a boy named Anakin Skywalker dreamed beyond the horizon. The sands of Tatooine were harsh, yet they nurtured a quiet resilience within him, a spark destined to outshine even the brightest star. Though bound by chains of servitude, his heart remained unbroken, filled with the wonder of flight and the promise of freedom. He built machines from scraps, friends from circuits, and hope from dust. The Force moved softly through him, unnoticed by most, but strong and steady, like the pulse of the universe itself. And from that quiet desert world, destiny began to whisper its first name, Skywalker. 2. A boy who dreamed of stars. Anakin would often look up from the rooftops of Mos Espa, watching freighters rise like glowing comets into the night. Each trail of light in the darkness was a story, a freedom, a life beyond sand and shadow. He imagined himself among them, flying through the stars, touching the infinite. The Force within him stirred with every dream, guiding his small hands to create wonders, from pod racers to droids. His dreams were vast, his heart unguarded. Even as the suns burned down upon him, his gaze stayed fixed on the skies. For somewhere, he believed, waited a destiny too large for Tatooine's horizons. And from those dreams, the galaxy began to turn. 3. The Prophecy of the Chosen One. Across the galaxy, in ancient Jedi temples, whispers told of a being conceived by the Force itself, one who would bring balance to light and shadow. None could imagine that the answer to the prophecy would come from a boy born in bondage. Qui-Gon Jinn, ever attuned to the living Force, felt its call when he met Anakin. The boy's presence was radiant, pure, and boundless, like the first dawn of creation. Yet prophecies are delicate things, shaped by choice and fate alike. In Anakin's eyes glimmered both light and storm, compassion and hunger. He was the promise and the peril entwined, the beginning of a tale that would echo through eternity. 4. A chance meeting with destiny. When the winds of Tatooine carried Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Padme Amidala into Mos Espa, fate moved quietly beside them. What began as a search for parts became a meeting written by the Force itself. Qui-Gon felt it, a resonance, a presence like sunlight beneath the storm. The boy before him was more than gifted. He was connected to something ancient, something waiting. Anakin's smile, bright against the dust, hid the gravity of what stirred within him. The Force seemed to breathe his name, guiding both master and child toward the first steps of a greater path. And in that humble workshop, the galaxy's story shifted, one heartbeat closer to its destiny. 5. The pod race of fate engines roared across the canyon flats as Anakin's pod racer shuddered to life, the desert wind whipping through his hair. For the crowd, it was a race. For Anakin, it was freedom. Each turn, each leap, was defiance, a promise to the stars that he would not remain grounded. The Force whispered through the chaos, steadying his hands, sharpening his sight. He was one with the machine, one with the wind. And when he crossed the finish line in a blaze of triumph, the chains of slavery began to fall away. The suns blazed high that day, not just on Tatooine, but upon the dawn of a destiny too vast to comprehend. 6. A Jedi's promise. In the aftermath of victory, Qui-Gon looked upon the boy with quiet conviction. He saw more than skill. He saw the will of the Force made flesh. With compassion in his voice, he promised Anakin freedom and a new life among the Jedi. Yet partings are never without pain. Shmi Skywalker's eyes held both pride and sorrow as she let her son go, the child of her heart, now belonging to the stars. Anakin stepped onto that ship trembling with hope, unaware of how far the promise of greatness could reach, or how deeply it could wound. As the engines carried him away from home, the Force shimmered softly. Destiny had begun. 7. The farewell to Shmi. The desert winds were still that day, as though even Tatooine itself paused to watch a mother and son say goodbye. Shmi Skywalker's hands lingered on Anakin's shoulders, memorizing his face beneath the soft light of the twin suns. She had always known he was meant for something beyond the sands, something larger than life itself. Yet, when the moment came, her heart trembled. Anakin's promise to return carried the innocence of youth, but also the weight of destiny. As the starship lifted away, her figure grew smaller, fading into the horizon's gold. The Force stirred between them, unseen but eternal, weaving love and sorrow into a single thread that would guide his path forever. 8. The training begins. Coruscant, the shining heart of the galaxy, greeted Anakin with lights brighter than any star he had known. Within the halls of the Jedi Temple, wisdom echoed from 1,000 years of peace and discipline. Yet among those ancient stones, Anakin felt both wonder and unease. The Jedi Masters studied him with quiet doubt, their minds clouded by prophecy and fear. Obi-Wan Kenobi, newly a knight, took him as his Padawan, honoring Qui-Gon's dying wish. Lightsabers hummed softly in the training halls as Anakin began his journey, his steps uncertain, his heart divided between longing and purpose. Each lesson drew him closer to mastery and to the fragile edge between light and shadow. 9. Visions of the future. Even as a boy, Anakin's dreams reached beyond the present. The Force flowed through him in waves, bright, consuming, alive. But in that power, visions began to flicker, shadows of things yet to come, flashes of loss and pain he could not understand. At night, he would sit by his window in the Jedi Temple, watching the endless streams of Coruscant traffic and feeling the pull of something distant, something calling. Fear began to whisper, quiet but persistent. It told him that love could be lost, that even the brightest light could fade. And so, the seeds of destiny grew deeper, a gift of foresight, wrapped in the gentle sorrow of the Force. 10. Shadows in the Council Chamber. The Jedi Council Chamber, ringed with towering windows, gazed out upon the glittering cityscape of Coruscant. It was there that Anakin often stood, feeling both awe and distance from those who guided the galaxy's peace. The Masters spoke with serenity, yet he could sense their caution, a quiet wall of mistrust surrounding him. His connection to the Force was powerful, but unpredictable, like lightning beneath glass. Yoda's gaze lingered longest, seeing both light and peril in the boy's heart. And though the chamber shone with sunlight, a faint shadow had begun to form across its floor, the shadow of destiny. Within that calm circle of wisdom, the first tremors of tragedy had quietly begun to stir. 11. Lessons under Obi-Wan. Under Obi-Wan's patient tutelage, Anakin grew into a gifted apprentice. The two shared a bond forged through conflict, loyalty, and unspoken affection. Obi-Wan taught him restraint, the discipline of the blade, the patience of the Force, the humility of service. But Anakin's spirit was restless, drawn toward action and victory. He longed to test his limits, to prove the destiny whispered about him. Their lessons often became debates, their trust tested by pride and temper. Yet beneath every clash was love, the bond of brothers who needed each other more than they knew. And as their journeys carried them across the stars, the galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the choice that would one day divide them. 12. The spark of rebellion. Even in his youth, Anakin's heart stirred with rebellion, not against the Jedi, but against the boundaries that sought to contain him. He questioned the rules that forbade attachment, the orders that silenced emotion. To him, love was not a weakness, but the essence of life. That belief set him apart, even as it brought him closer to the very fall he feared. His strength grew, his victories multiplied, but so too did his doubts. The galaxy was changing, and so was he. Within the hum of his lightsaber and the silence of meditation, a quiet conflict took root between duty and desire, destiny and defiance. And the Force watched, patient and eternal. 13. The bond with Padme. When Anakin saw Padme Amidala again, years after their first meeting, the galaxy seemed to pause in gentle recognition. She was no longer the young queen he once served, and he was no longer the child who dreamed of stars. Yet something between them remained untouched by time. A quiet current of affection that the Force itself seemed to bless and burden. In her presence, his restlessness softened, replaced by warmth and devotion. Their connection was forbidden, yet it bloomed in secret, like light beneath the soil. Padme became both his anchor and his undoing, the reason he fought and the fear that would haunt his dreams. And in that love, the first spark of destiny began to glow brighter and darker. 14. The duel on Geonosis. The red dust of Geonosis swirled beneath blaster fire and the clash of sabers. Anakin fought with reckless courage, his movements swift and raw, guided by emotion more than control. At his side was Obi-Wan, steadfast as ever, and Padme, unyielding in spirit. The battle marked the end of peace, the first great clash of the Clone Wars. Yet within that chaos, Anakin's impulsive nature revealed both brilliance and danger. His duel against Count Dooku tested his strength and his pride. When he lost his arm, he did not just lose flesh, he lost a fragment of innocence. Metal replaced bone, and with it came the first whisper of the man he would one day become. 15. The Clone Wars ignite. Across the galaxy, war blazed like wildfire. The Jedi became generals, leading legions of clones into endless battle. Anakin thrived amid the turmoil, daring, inventive, unstoppable. His bond with his troops was genuine. They saw in him not a distant master, but a leader who fought beside them. Yet the war demanded sacrifices no heart could endure forever. Each victory carried loss, each triumph a shadow. The galaxy that once shimmered with hope began to darken, one system at a time. Still, beneath every act of heroism, a storm brewed, a hunger for control, for safety, for love unthreatened by fate. And through that storm, the Force whispered a warning, soft but unheeded. 16. A Knight of the Republic. The day Anakin Skywalker was granted the rank of Jedi Knight, the galaxy seemed to shine a little brighter. He stood tall before the council, his blue lightsaber a symbol of valor and faith. The boy from Tatooine had become a warrior of legend, courageous, brilliant, and deeply human. Yet the title brought not peace, but pressure. The Clone Wars raged, and the mantle of heroism grew heavier with every battle. Though he fought for the light, the shadows within him deepened. Still, in those moments between missions, when he gazed out at the stars, a fragment of that hopeful boy remained, the child who once dreamed of freedom beneath the twin suns of home. 17. The Friendship of Ahsoka. When Ahsoka Tano entered Anakin's life as his Padawan, the galaxy found a fleeting harmony. She was spirited, curious, and brave, a mirror of his younger self. Together, they faced the trials of war, their bond growing stronger than master and apprentice, more like siblings bound by trust. Ahsoka softened Anakin's pride, reminded him of compassion, of laughter, of purpose. Through her eyes, he glimpsed the Jedi he might have been, free from fear, untouched by corruption. But destiny is rarely kind. When she was forced to walk away from the Order, Anakin's heart fractured quietly. Another light faded from his world, and with it, another tether to the man he once was. 18. The Weight of Command. Victory after victory carved Anakin's name into the songs of soldiers and the whispers of senators. But each triumph carried a price. The faces of fallen friends haunted his dreams, their echoes following him through the silence of hyperspace. The war taught him the cost of leadership, that even heroes bleed beneath their armor. He became colder, more decisive, shaped by loss and fear of losing again. The Republic hailed him as its brightest hope, yet the light within him flickered with fatigue. And when the blasters fell silent for a moment, only his thoughts remained, of love forbidden, of loyalty strained, of a destiny tightening like a shadow around his heart. 19. The Whisper of Fear. In the stillness between battles, fear began to whisper in Anakin's heart. It spoke not of the enemy, but of loss, of the people he could not bear to live without. The Force that once brought him peace now echoed with warnings and visions he could not escape. He dreamed of Padme fading from his arms, of emptiness too vast to face. The Jedi taught detachment, but Anakin's soul could not let go. His love was fierce, radiant, and consuming. And in the silence of his chambers, he began to wonder if the light could truly protect what he loved most. The whisper grew stronger each night, curling like smoke around the edges of his destiny. 20. The Dream of Loss. One night, sleep carried Anakin into a vision, vivid and merciless. Padme was crying out, her life slipping away in shadow. He awoke trembling, drenched in fear. The dream felt real, too real to dismiss as illusion. The same power that made him strong now tormented him with glimpses of the inevitable. He swore that he would not lose her, no matter the cost. That vow, born of love, began to twist into something darker. For love without trust becomes obsession, and protection without peace becomes control. As he gazed at the city lights of Coruscant, he made a silent promise to defy fate itself. And with that promise, destiny began to darken its course. 21. The Chancellor's Confidence Chancellor. Palpatine's voice was warm, wise, and full of praise, the kind that soothed Anakin's doubts and flattered his spirit. He spoke as a friend, not as a master. He listened when the council would not. Slowly, his words became a refuge, a place where Anakin's fears felt understood. Palpatine encouraged his strength, his independence, his belief that the Jedi held him back. And so, trust shifted. The seed of manipulation took root under the guise of mentorship. Palpatine's approval felt like light, but it was a light that burned from the inside out. Each conversation drew Anakin further from the calm of the Force and closer to the storm waiting in its shadow. 22. The Seduction of Power. Power began to take on a new shape in Anakin's mind, no longer as service, but as salvation. Palpatine whispered of abilities beyond the Jedi, of knowledge kept hidden by the Order. The thought lingered like a forbidden flame. To save those he loved, perhaps the rules must bend. The Jedi spoke of patience and balance, yet his heart beat faster with every secret promise. He began to feel that the Council feared him, that they would never trust what they could not control. And so, doubt became defiance, and faith began to fracture. The Force still called to him, but now it was joined by another voice, soft and dark, offering the illusion of endless power. 23. The visions grow darker. Sleep no longer brought rest. Each dream was a storm, each vision a wound reopening. Padme's face would appear in the darkness, her cries echoing through the folds of the Force. Anakin would awaken gasping, reaching for her hand that wasn't there. The future haunted him, fixed, unstoppable, cruel. He sought counsel from the Jedi, but their words brought no comfort. Let go, they said. But how does one let go of love? The more he resisted, the tighter fear's grip became. And as the shadows lengthened, so too did his resolve. He would find a way to change fate, even if it meant stepping into the darkness itself. The Force watched, silent and sorrowful. 24. The Forbidden Knowledge. In the Chancellor's private chambers, under the golden glow of Coruscant's skyline, Palpatine revealed the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise. It was told like a legend, but its purpose was temptation. Power to save the ones he loved from death. The power of life itself. The words sank deep into Anakin's heart, twisting hope into hunger. Could the dark side truly hold the secret to saving Padme? The Jedi forbade such pursuits, yet his love defied all laws. That night, as he stood alone above the sleeping city, Anakin felt the galaxy tilt. The line between good and evil blurred beneath the pull of his fear. And from that uncertainty, the fall had quietly begun. 25. A Jedi torn between paths. The Force within Anakin grew turbulent, a storm beneath the calm surface of his training. Every meditation left him restless. Every mission deepened his divide. The Jedi expected serenity, but his heart burned with passion, love, anger, devotion. Two loyalties warred within him, to the Order that raised him, and to Padme, whose life was now bound to his soul. He began to question what the Jedi truly feared, the dark side, or the power that came from embracing feeling itself. Each council meeting felt colder, each command heavier. And so, between light and shadow, Anakin drifted, a being of infinite potential caught between two truths. In his silence, the galaxy waited for his choice. 26. The Duel with Dooku. In the heart of a separatist warship, sabers flashed like lightning. Count Dooku moved with elegance and malice, his strikes calculated and cruel. But Anakin, older now, stronger, met him with fury. The duel was not of patience, but of power. In the clash of blades, the echoes of his fear and anger guided his hand. When Palpatine urged him to finish the count, the choice came with chilling ease. One swift strike, and the deed was done. Dooku fell, and with him, another piece of Anakin's restraint. The Chancellor's approving gaze was calm, almost tender. Anakin's heart thundered in his chest, a victory that felt like loss. Somewhere deep within, the light dimmed a little more. 27. The seeds of doubt. In the aftermath of victory, Anakin felt only unease. The Jedi praised his skill, but questioned his judgment. The Chancellor, however, praised everything. Between those two voices, trust began to splinter. The Council's silence felt like rejection. Palpatine's whispers, like understanding. He was asked to spy on the man he considered a friend, a request that felt like betrayal. Confusion clouded his thoughts, the Force no longer a river of clarity, but a tide of noise. In every shadowed corridor of the temple, he sensed distance where once there was belonging. Doubt became isolation, and in that loneliness, the dark began to sound less like temptation and more like truth. 28. The promise to save Padme. As Coruscant slept beneath its endless lights, Anakin stood on the balcony beside Padme, the hum of the city below fading into silence. Her hand rested on his chest, and for a moment, the galaxy felt still. But within him, the storm of fear raged stronger than ever. He could not bear to lose her, not her laughter, not the life growing within her. The memory of his mother's death still burned like fire, and he vowed that this time he would stop fate itself. The dream of her dying was no longer just a vision. It was a prophecy he would defy. "I won't lose you," he whispered. Yet in that vow, the darkness began to bloom like a silent flower. 29. The betrayal of trust. When the Jedi Council denied him the rank of Master, the wound cut deeper than any blade. His faith in them fractured completely. How could they not see his loyalty, his victories, his devotion? The same council that spoke of balance now asked him to betray Palpatine, to act as a spy against the man who treated him as a son. The words of the order rang hollow, and his heart filled with quiet resentment. He felt watched, untrusted, alone. In Palpatine's office, comfort waited in the form of gentle understanding. The Chancellor promised not power, but purpose, the ability to protect, to heal, to save. And so, with a whisper, Anakin's allegiance began to shift forever. 30. The eclipse of the light. It happened not in a roar, but in silence. The moment when Anakin Skywalker began to fade. Palpatine revealed his true nature as Darth Sidious, and the room filled with the heavy breath of destiny. Anakin's heart raced with horror, yet his mind clung to hope. If the Sith could save Padme, could evil truly be evil? Torn between the Jedi's judgment and his desperate love, he stood on the knife's edge of fate. When he turned his saber against Mace Windu, it was not rage that guided him, but fear. And when Windu fell, the galaxy shuddered. The stars dimmed, and the last warmth of the light within Anakin's soul began to fade into shadow. 31. The march on the temple night cloaked Coruscant in silver and shadow as Darth Vader took his first steps into legend. Cloaked in black, his eyes cold and unseeing, he led the 501st Legion through the gates of the Jedi Temple. The blue glow of sabers flickered against marble floors, and the silence between each hum felt endless. No words were spoken, only the rhythm of boots, the hiss of blasters, and the faint cries of those who had once called him brother. The Force shuddered, mourning quietly. Above it all, Anakin's heart was still, consumed by the lie that he was bringing peace. The temple burned through the night, its light extinguished by the one who had been destined to save it. 32. The fire on Mustafar. Far across the stars, the volcanic world of Mustafar erupted beneath a blood-red sky. Rivers of molten rock flowed like veins through the planet's surface, reflecting the fury within Darth Vader's soul. Here, he carried out the Emperor's will without hesitation, ending the Separatist war with a single sweep of his blade. Yet even amid victory, emptiness settled in, the hollow echo of a heart now enslaved to fear. When Padme arrived, her tears met the rising ash, and for the first time, Anakin saw himself not as a savior, but as a monster. But the darkness would not let go. It whispered that all he'd done was for her. And so, the fire burned on. 33. The Duel of Brothers. Amid the smoke and thunder, two lightsabers clashed. Blue against blue, brother against brother. Obi-Wan's voice trembled with sorrow, Anakin's with rage. The air itself seemed to cry as the friends who had once fought side by side now stood divided by destiny. Lava roared beneath their feet, mirroring the fury between them. Every strike carried love twisted into hate, every parry a memory of what was lost. When the battle ended, and Anakin lay broken on the black sands, Obi-Wan could not bring himself to finish it. He turned away, his voice a whisper. You were my brother. As the fire consumed what remained, the name Anakin Skywalker vanished into the smoke. 34. The Man Beneath the Flames. On the banks of Mustafar's fiery rivers, the man once known as Anakin Skywalker burned beneath the weight of his choices. The fire consumed not just his body, but his hope, his dreams, his very name. Every breath became agony, every heartbeat a reminder of what he had lost. The smoke curled around him like the whisper of the dark side itself, cradling him in ruin. He reached for Padme, for light, but only darkness answered. The Force trembled as the Chosen One fell, his destiny undone by the very fear he sought to conquer. And in that moment of unmaking, a new being emerged, not born of love or prophecy, but of pain and silence. 35. The Emperor's Hand. Through the veil of smoke, a shadow approached, the figure of Darth Sidious, master of the Sith and architect of the fall. He looked upon the broken form before him and smiled, seeing not tragedy, but triumph. With a gesture, he summoned the machines that would keep his apprentice alive. No longer was Anakin Skywalker the hero of the Republic. He was now the instrument of an empire. Between them stretched a bond forged from suffering and control, master and servant, creator and creation. The Emperor's hand rested lightly on Anakin's shoulder, a mockery of comfort. Rise, he whispered. And so, the galaxy's brightest flame was twisted into its darkest shadow. 36. The mask is sealed. In a sterile chamber, cold and still, the hiss of machines filled the air. Metal limbs replaced flesh. Black armor encased what remained of a man. When the mask descended, it sealed more than a face. It sealed a fate. The sound of that first breath was both life and imprisonment, echoing through eternity like the heartbeat of a fallen god. As his eyes opened, yellow and hollow, the name Anakin died in silence. Darth Vader rose, neither fully man nor machine, but something caught in between, a wound that would never heal. The galaxy shifted in that moment, the Force itself whispering in grief. And from that breath, a new era of darkness began. 37. The breath of the machine. The first sound that filled the dark chamber was not speech, but breath. Mechanical, steady, eternal. Each inhale was a memory of pain. Each exhale, a surrender to the machine he had become. The mask's rhythm replaced his heartbeat, a lullaby of confinement and power. Within the armor, Darth Vader lived half in shadow, half in silence. His senses dulled, his humanity dimmed. Yet somewhere, buried beneath layers of steel and sorrow, the faint spark of Anakin still flickered. The Emperor's voice guided him now, but the hum of that endless breathing became his true companion. The sound of survival, of damnation, of a destiny forever entwined with the rhythm of the dark side. 38. The death of Anakin Skywalker. The name Anakin Skywalker became forbidden, a ghost buried in the ashes of Mustafar. To the galaxy, that man was gone, betrayed by his own passion, destroyed by the Jedi, erased from memory. But inside the mask, within the suffocating quiet, fragments of him lingered like fading stars. He would sometimes hear echoes, Padmé's voice, his mother's touch, Obi-Wan's laughter, drifting through the static of his thoughts. He tried to silence them, to crush what was left of the man he once was. Yet even in hatred, love's shadow remained. The Jedi believed Anakin was dead. Vader agreed. But the Force, timeless and patient, knew that the light was only sleeping. 39. The rise of Darth Vader. From the ruins of war rose the Empire, vast and unchallenged. At its heart stood Darth Vader, the Emperor's iron enforcer, a symbol of fear, precision, and power. His presence commanded silence, his breathing, dread. Planets fell, rebels scattered, and hope dimmed across the stars. Yet behind the black armor, the man within wrestled with ghosts that would not fade. The Emperor called him apprentice, but Vader was also prisoner, chained not by bonds, but by grief. He wielded destruction with purpose, yet found no peace in conquest. As his ship drifted through the void, he gazed upon the stars, each one a reminder of what he had lost. The galaxy obeyed, but the Force still waited. 40. Silence in the Empire. The galaxy lay beneath a cloak of order, silent, fearful, obedient. Worlds that once sang with freedom now whispered in submission, as the Empire's shadow stretched from rim to rim. In that vast quiet, Darth Vader stood alone, a figure of absolute power and unending isolation. His presence was enough to still any voice, his command enough to silence rebellion before it began. Yet even among the stars he ruled, there was no peace within him. The corridors of his flagship echoed only with his mechanical breath, a constant reminder of what he had become. And though he told himself the silence was victory, deep within the void of the Force, a lonely echo still called his name. 41. The shadow of fear. Fear became his greatest weapon and his greatest companion. Across the galaxy, the mention of Darth Vader's name could freeze entire fleets. He inspired obedience not through loyalty, but through terror, a darkness so complete that even seasoned generals bowed their heads in his presence. Yet fear, once unleashed, never truly obeys. It seeped into him too, coiling around the fragments of his soul. He feared failure. He feared his master. He feared the memory of love that would not die. The dark side promised power beyond measure, but it demanded everything in return. So he moved through the galaxy like a shadow, feeding on the fear he created, haunted by the fear he could never escape. 42. The hunt for the Jedi. When Order 66 ended the age of the Jedi, few remained, but Darth Vader hunted them all. He became the storm that followed the ashes, seeking out survivors with ruthless precision. Each duel was a reminder of the man he once was, every fallen Jedi a mirror of his own loss. The Inquisitors served him, yet none matched his power or his fury. Worlds trembled at his approach, sensing that he carried not just vengeance, but grief. The old ways were burned away in his wake, their lights extinguished beneath the weight of his blade. And though he claimed the hunt as duty, deep within the Force, something mourned with every saber that fell silent. 43. The Inquisitors awaken. From the remnants of the fallen Jedi Order, a new force emerged, not of light, but of shadow. The Inquisitors were born under Vader's command, trained to hunt their former kin and extinguish the last sparks of hope. Each carried a red blade, a reflection of their corruption, and a fear of their master that surpassed all others. Vader taught them through cruelty and silence, shaping them into instruments of the Emperor's will. Yet even they sensed that beneath his mask lay something deeper, a grief too ancient to name. When they knelt before him, they did not only serve out of duty, they served because they knew. In the presence of Darth Vader, mercy did not exist. 44. The Fortress on Mustafar. On the fiery world where Anakin Skywalker had died, Darth Vader built his fortress. Its towers rose from the lava like obsidian fangs, surrounded by rivers of flame and sorrow. Some said it was a monument to victory. Others whispered it was a prison. Within its walls, the air hummed with ancient Sith energy, a wound in the Force that never healed. Here, Vader meditated in solitude, reaching into the darkness for power, for peace, for the echo of a voice long gone. But Mustafar offered only reflection, the endless reminder of his fall. The planet burned, and so did he, every moment of his existence forged in the fire that never went out. 45. The Dark Meditation. In the quiet of his fortress, Vader would kneel before the void. Around him, the air shimmered with the hum of the Force, cold, oppressive, eternal. His thoughts drifted through shadow, seeking answers the light could no longer give. He saw flashes of the past, the smile of a mother, the touch of a lover, the betrayal of a brother. Each memory was pain reborn. Yet in that pain, he found strength. The dark side promised control, and through suffering, he believed he had mastered it. But beneath the calm surface of his meditation, the truth lingered. He was still searching for forgiveness, though he no longer remembered what it felt like to be forgiven. 46. The Red Kyber's Scream. To forge his lightsaber, Darth Vader journeyed into darkness. A Jedi's crystal sings with light, but a Sith's bleeds. He hunted a Jedi survivor across distant worlds, defeated him, and claimed the crystal as his own. In the solitude of his chamber, he reached into the Force and poured his agony into the gem. It fought back, a symphony of pain and resistance, until it broke, screaming with crimson fire. When he ignited the blade, its red glow painted the walls like burning blood. It was no longer a weapon of peace, but of wrath. The sound it made was not the hum of light, but the echo of suffering, and in that sound, Vader felt whole. 47. The Emperor's Command. The Emperor ruled through fear, and Darth Vader was the hand that carried out his will. Together they reshaped the galaxy, bending it to their design. Yet even in obedience, Vader was restless. Sidious, treated him as both student and slave, rewarding loyalty with cruelty, testing the limits of his pain. Missions of destruction were given without question. Rebels, traitors, dreamers, all erased at his command. And though the dark side flowed through him with boundless strength, it could not fill the hollow inside. Each time he knelt before his master, he felt the ghost of chains he thought he'd broken long ago. Power, he realized, was not freedom. It was a deeper kind of prison. 48. The cold silence of space. Between the stars, where sound could not exist, Darth Vader found his truest reflection. The void of space was his mirror, silent, vast, and endless. From the bridge of his Star Destroyer, he would watch the stars drift by. Each one, a world of stories he would never touch. His breathing echoed against the hum of the ship, a rhythm both human and machine. The galaxy feared him, but the stars did not. They burned with quiet indifference, ancient and pure. Sometimes, when the engines faded and the darkness deepened, he would close his eyes. In that silence, for a moment, the machine slept. And the man beneath the mask almost remembered his name. 49. The duel with Ahsoka. On the forgotten world of Malachor, beneath the ruins of an ancient Sith temple, Darth Vader met the echo of his past. His former apprentice, Ahsoka Tano. Her voice trembled with recognition, her heart breaking beneath the weight of what he had become. When their blades clashed, it was not master and apprentice, but memory against shadow. Sparks of blue and red danced in the dark, illuminating what words could not heal. For a fleeting instant, she saw through the mask, saw the boy she once called friend. But Anakin was buried too deep. As the temple collapsed around them, the Force held its breath. In their final moment, neither truly won, only sorrow endured. 50. The ghosts of the past. After Malachor, silence followed Vader like a storm that had spent its fury. In the solitude of his fortress, the past returned to him in fragments. The laughter of a Padawan, the warmth of a wife, the voice of a brother. He tried to push them away, but ghosts are stubborn things. They linger in the empty spaces between breaths, in the shadows cast by dying stars. Sometimes, he would hear Padme's voice in the hum of the machinery, or see Obi-Wan's reflection in the glass of his meditation chamber. The past was not gone. It was alive within him, pulsing softly beneath metal and hatred. And in that haunted quiet, the Force wept. 51. The search for the rebel. As whispers of rebellion began to stir across the galaxy, Darth Vader's purpose sharpened once more. The Emperor sent him to hunt those who dared to defy Imperial rule. Each skirmish, each captured transmission, brought him closer to something he did not yet understand. There was a name whispered among the stars, Skywalker. The sound of it stirred something long buried. He dismissed it at first as coincidence, yet the Force trembled with recognition. In his search for traitors, he was unknowingly searching for himself, for the thread of destiny that would soon pull father and son together. The darkness moved, but within it, a single spark of light began to stir. 52. The capture of Leia. In the cold corridors of the Tantive R4, Darth Vader's presence filled every shadow. His arrival was a storm, the clash of metal boots and the hiss of a lightsaber cutting through smoke. Amid the chaos stood Princess Leia Organa, fearless and defiant, her spirit a reflection of a mother she had never known. Vader did not yet realize the truth that bound them, but the Force stirred at their meeting, two destinies intertwined by blood and fate. As she was taken prisoner, Her eyes burned with courage he could not extinguish. Somewhere deep beneath the armor, something faint and long forgotten flickered. The echo of love, of family, of a name once whispered in light. 53. The destruction of Alderaan. The Death Star hung in orbit like a silent god, its weapon ready, its heart indifferent. Vader watched as the planet of Alderaan, a world of beauty, peace, and wisdom, became a sphere of fire and silence. He did not flinch. He had long buried the part of him that could mourn. Yet the Force trembled, crying out in anguish as billions of lives vanished in an instant. That moment of stillness afterward was worse than the explosion. The void that followed, heavy and hollow. The galaxy grew darker that day, not just from the loss of a world, but from the quiet acceptance of what power could destroy. 54. The duel with Obi-Wan. On the Death Star, the circle closed. Two figures met once more. The Master and the fallen apprentice, aged by time, bound by fate. Their blades hummed softly, less a battle than a farewell. Obi-Wan's calm contrasted Vader's fury, his every strike measured, his every step serene. The old Jedi looked upon his former student not with hatred, but sorrow and love. When the end came, Obi-Wan lifted his saber in peace, surrendering to the Force with a knowing smile. Vader's blade passed through him, and in that moment, he won nothing. The cloak fell empty to the floor, and for the first time in years, the Sith Lord felt the faint ache of loss. 55. The victory of the Empire. The Death Star's triumph echoed through the ranks of the Empire, a declaration that resistance was futile. Worlds bowed in fear, and even the stars seemed dimmer beneath its shadow. Darth Vader moved through the corridors of victory with quiet precision, his presence commanding reverence and dread. Yet within him, there was no joy. The death of Obi-Wan had brought no peace, no closure, only silence. His master celebrated conquest, but Vader felt only the emptiness that follows destruction. Power had become routine, dominance a ritual. In the stillness of space, he stood before the void once more, realizing that even as the galaxy knelt before him, the ache within his heart remained unconquered. 56. The hunt for Skywalker. Whispers began to reach him. A young pilot, strong in the Force, who had destroyed the Death Star. The name was spoken in hushed awe, Luke Skywalker. It lingered in Vader's mind, like an echo from another life. The Force stirred, rippling through the darkness that surrounded him. Could it be true? Could the son he thought lost still live? The question haunted him, a blade of light piercing his shadowed soul. What began as duty became obsession. Across the stars he searched, not for vengeance, but for something far deeper. Each lead brought him closer to a truth both terrifying and miraculous, that Anakin Skywalker's legacy had not ended in fire, but endured in flesh and hope. 57. The Empire strikes back. The hunt intensified. On the icy plains of Hoth, the Empire unleashed its wrath upon the Rebel Alliance. Walkers thundered through snow and smoke as the cold winds howled around them. In the command center of his flagship, Darth Vader stood unmoved, patient, relentless. The Force guided him toward his quarry, every breath a drumbeat of destiny. Yet behind his precision lay turmoil. The closer he came to Luke, the more his control trembled. This was no longer just a pursuit. It was the pull of blood, the echo of the past calling him home. As his fleet vanished into hyperspace, the stars stretched into silver lines, and the dark side whispered of a reunion written in fate. 58. The duel on Cloud City. In the misty halls of Cloud City, the air was heavy with destiny. Darth Vader moved with quiet certainty, his presence filling each corridor like the sound of distant thunder. When Luke Skywalker appeared, saber in hand, it was as if two halves of the same soul had met, one forged in light, the other in flame. Their duel echoed through the steel chambers, blue and red clashing in bursts of brilliance. Vader tested the boy's strength, not only as an enemy, but as a father searching for recognition. Each strike was a question. Will you understand me? Will you join me? And as the wind howled through shattered windows, the Force held its breath for the answer. 59. I am your father. The moment came like thunder after silence. On the precipice above the endless void, Luke stood defiant, wounded, trembling, and Vader's voice broke through the storm. No, I am your father. The words hung heavy in the air, shattering everything the boy believed. For Vader, it was not triumph, but truth unveiled. The confession of a man buried beneath the armor. In that revelation, something fragile stirred within him. Hope twisted into longing. He reached out, offering not destruction, but unity, a chance to end the war between them. Yet Luke turned away, choosing faith over fear, light over blood. As the boy fell into the abyss, the darkness around Vader felt suddenly colder. 60. The wound between worlds. After Cloud City, the galaxy seemed quieter, as if both father and son had drawn breath and stepped back from the edge. Vader returned to his ship, haunted by what had passed. The revelation had not bound them. It had torn them both open. The Emperor demanded obedience, but the seed of doubt had been sown. Somewhere out there, his son lived, filled with the same stubborn hope that once defined him. The wound between them was wide, yet within that pain, the Force shimmered with possibility. For the first time in many years, Darth Vader no longer felt alone. And though he could not name it, the light had begun to whisper again. 61. The conflict within. In the quiet hours aboard his Star Destroyer, Darth Vader stood at the viewport, watching the slow drift of starlight. The revelation of Luke had fractured something within him, a wound that neither power nor obedience could mend. The Emperor's commands grew sharper, yet his heart no longer answered as it once had. He remembered what it was to dream, to hope, to love. Each memory felt like a betrayal to the darkness that sustained him. The Force whispered of balance, but he had long forgotten what peace felt like. Within the hum of machines and the rhythm of his breath, two voices began to war, the Master's will and the faint echo of the man once called Anakin. 62. The Emperor's Throne. In the depths of the Death Star's new throne room, the Emperor waited, patient, calculating. His gaze upon Vader was sharp and knowing, a reminder of chains hidden beneath reverence. He sensed the conflict within his apprentice and twisted it like a blade. "He will come to you," Sidious said, his voice a serpent's hiss. "And when he does, you will bring him to me." Vader bowed, but inside, rebellion stirred. Not yet action, but the ghost of choice. The throne room smelled of cold metal and deceit, the air heavy with destiny. The Emperor's laughter echoed long after Vader departed, reverberating through the dark like thunder before a storm. 63. The final confrontation. When at last they met again, father and son stood before the Emperor's throne, the dark and the light, bound by blood. Luke's voice was calm, filled with compassion rather than hate. "I know there is good in you," he said, and the words struck harder than any saber. The Emperor watched in delight, confident the boy would fall, just as his father had. But the Force moved differently this time, not in anger, but in love. Their blades clashed, a symphony of fate and forgiveness. As Luke's fury rose and then broke, Vader felt something awaken within him, the stirring of a forgotten truth. And in that moment, the darkness trembled. 64. The lightning of redemption. The Emperor's laughter filled the chamber, a cruel harmony to the scream of Force lightning that struck Luke. The blue light danced across his body, searing agony and love into the air. Vader watched, motionless, silent, as his son cried out, calling his name not in hatred, but in faith. The sound pierced through years of darkness, reaching what little remained of Anakin Skywalker. The moment stretched, eternal. The Emperor's power roared, but the choice was already made. Vader turned, the machine and the man uniting for the first time in decades. With a surge of strength not born of anger, but of love, he lifted his master and hurled him into the abyss. And in that act, light returned. 65. The death of the Emperor. The dark side screamed as Darth Sidious fell, a storm of hatred collapsing upon itself. Lightning burst like dying stars, illuminating Vader's black silhouette in hues of blue and pain. The Emperor's voice faded into silence, leaving only the hum of fading energy and the labored sound of Vader's breath. His armor sparked, circuits failing, yet within him, the Force flowed with peace. For the first time since Mustafar, the fire within was warm, not consuming. He had saved his son, and in doing so, had saved himself. The galaxy beyond did not yet know that evil had fallen, but the Force did. It whispered softly. Balance had been restored through love. 66. The face, beneath the mask. The Death Star shook around them as Luke dragged his father to safety. Beneath the hum of destruction, Vader's breathing weakened, each inhale shallower than the last. "Let me look on you with my own eyes," he whispered. The mask hissed open, and for the first time in decades, air kissed his skin. Gone was the monster the galaxy feared. Before Luke knelt only a man, weary, scarred, but at peace. The blue of his son's eyes reflected the dawn that he had long chased in dreams. "You were right," he murmured, a faint smile forming. The machine's breath stilled, but the Force did not grieve. It shimmered with serenity. Anakin Skywalker had returned. 67. The forgiveness of a son. Luke held his father's hand as the light in his eyes began to fade. There were no grand speeches, no demands for redemption, only silence, filled with understanding. In that moment, forgiveness flowed effortlessly, unspoken but absolute. The past no longer mattered. The wars, the hatred, the mistakes, all melted away into stillness. Luke's tears were not of sorrow, but of love fulfilled. He had seen the good that still lived beneath the armor, had reached the heart of the man the galaxy had forgotten. The Force surrounded them both, not as dark or light, but as one, infinite, calm, and complete. And as Anakin's last breath escaped him, peace replaced the weight of destiny. 68. The peace of a father. For so long, Darth Vader had lived in shadow, chasing the illusion of control. But in his final moments, he found what he had sought all along: peace. The fear that once bound him fell away, replaced by the gentle warmth of the Force. The stars no longer looked distant. They were part of him, glowing softly like memories reborn. He felt Padmé's presence, not as sorrow, but as light. The love he had lost, the son he had saved, both drew him home. As his spirit rose, the pain of the machine vanished, leaving only the man who once dreamed beneath Tatooine's suns. In death, Anakin Skywalker was no longer broken. He was whole. 69. The funeral pyre. On the forest moon of Endor, under a canopy of starlight, Luke built a pyre of honor for his father. The flames flickered gently, not with anger, but with release. The armor that had once carried terror now glowed like embers of the past, rising into the night as sparks of forgiveness. The air was still, save for the quiet song of the trees and the hum of the Force that lingered between worlds. Luke stood alone, yet not alone, for within the fire, he could feel Anakin's presence smiling back at him. The galaxy, too, exhaled. The darkness had lifted, and in the warm glow of the pyre, a new hope began to dawn. 70. The return of Anakin Skywalker. In the stillness beyond death, the Force shimmered with light. Where darkness once ruled, there now stood peace. Quiet, complete, eternal. Anakin Skywalker appeared not as the armored figure the galaxy feared, but as the man he had always been. Kind, strong, and free. The chains of the dark side had fallen away, leaving only the pure rhythm of balance. When Luke looked up from the pyre later that night, he saw him, not as Darth Vader, but as his father, radiant and calm beside Obi-Wan and Yoda. No words were needed. The smile that passed between them carried lifetimes of forgiveness. The Chosen One had fulfilled the prophecy at last, not by destroying, but by saving. 71. The Echo in the Force. Long after the battle had ended, the Force continued to whisper his name. Across the galaxy, in temples half-buried and worlds newly freed, the story of Anakin Skywalker became legend. Some felt his presence in dreams, others in the quiet hum of starlight. He lingered not as a ghost of regret, but as a guardian of balance, a soft echo reminding all that redemption is never too late. The wind on Tatooine carried his memory through the dunes where it all began, and though time would turn and empires would fall again, the Force remembered him always, not as the Dark Lord who fell, but as the light that returned. 72. The Redemption. Remembered generations later, storytellers would speak of him in reverent tones, the fallen hero who found his way home. They would say that even in the darkest night, the light can find a path back to itself. Statues would crumble, names would fade, but the lesson endured, that love is stronger than fear, and hope can outshine even the deepest shadow. The Jedi who came after would meditate on his journey, feeling the balance he restored still pulsing in the fabric of the Force, and in that eternal current of energy and life, Anakin's story would never truly end. It would drift on, a lullaby of light carried forever among the stars. 73. The Helmet in the Shadows. Years after the fall of the Empire, his relics remained, silent witnesses to a life of contradiction. Among them lay the helmet of Darth Vader, blackened and broken, its once terrifying shape softened by time. It no longer breathed or commanded, yet it seemed to hum faintly, as though the memory of the man within had never completely faded. To some, it was a symbol of fear. To others, a reminder of the fragility of power. The galaxy had moved on, but legends do not sleep. When the firelight flickered across its surface, one could almost see both faces within, the monster and the man, forever bound, forever whispering that even darkness once dreamed of light. 74. The Legacy of Fear. The shadow of Darth Vader lingered long after his redemption. For many, he was not the savior who returned to the light, but the enforcer who had ruled through terror. Entire generations grew beneath the weight of his legend, their stories shaped by what they believed him to be. Yet the Force, timeless and patient, knew the truth, that fear is never the end of a story, only the beginning of understanding. The darkness he cast became a lesson, a mirror for those who followed. To conquer fear, one must first face it. And so, through the ages, his memory taught the galaxy a quiet wisdom. Even the darkest legacy can birth the brightest dawn. 75. The scars of the galaxy. The wars he fought left scars not only upon worlds, but upon hearts. Cities rebuilt, stars healed, yet the echoes of his deeds lingered in every corner of the galaxy. Some scars were physical: craters, ruins, the silence of lost civilizations. Others were softer, hidden within those who remembered. Yet through time, even these wounds became part of the galaxy's song. Pain became history. History became balance. In the long rhythm of creation and destruction, the memory of Darth Vader blended into the larger harmony of the Force. The scars remained, but they no longer ached. They glowed faintly, like the embers of a storm long past, lighting the path toward peace. 76. The relic of Mustafar. Amid the endless fire rivers of Mustafar, the ruins of Vader's fortress still stand. Silent, unmoving, a scar carved into the skin of the galaxy. The air hums faintly with the residue of the dark side, a haunting echo of its former master's anguish. Travelers speak of strange lights flickering in its windows, of whispers carried on the molten wind. Yet even here, the energy has softened with time. What was once a prison of torment has become a monument to transformation. Beneath the ash lies not just pain, but proof that even the darkest place can one day rest. The fires still burn, but now they seem less cruel, as if keeping vigil for the soul that finally found peace. 77. The Sith's final whisper. The teachings of the Sith faded like smoke after the fall of their last great master. No longer did the galaxy tremble beneath their creed of anger and desire. Yet their whispers remained, lingering in forgotten temples, in relics buried deep beneath sand and shadow. Darth Vader's legacy became their last echo, a cautionary tale, a reminder of the cost of power without compassion. Those who sought the dark side after him found only emptiness, for its greatest vessel had already turned back to light. The Sith would rise and fall again in time, as all things do. But the Force remembered, and the final whisper of their order was a sigh, not a scream. 78. The symbol of power. In the centuries that followed, the image of Darth Vader became legend, part myth, part memory. To some, he symbolized fear, to others, redemption. Statues were raised and destroyed, stories told and retold, each one reshaping who he was. Yet the truth lay not in power, but in the choice he made at the end. The decision to love when hate was easier. The galaxy storytellers spoke of him in hushed tones beneath the stars, their voices filled with wonder and sadness. Power, they would say, is never eternal. Only compassion endures. And so, the black armor that once silenced worlds became instead a quiet reminder that even the mightiest can learn to kneel before mercy. 79. The stories of the Empire. Long after the Empire's fall, stories of its reign drifted through the galaxy like old lullabies, softened, distorted, half-remembered. Children whispered of the black figure who could choke a man without lifting a hand, while elders spoke of a time when fear ruled the stars. Yet among these tales, a gentler truth survived. Some said that in the end, the Dark Lord had turned back to the light, saving his son and restoring balance to the Force. Historians debated, but the Force itself did not. It carried the memory quietly, not in records or monuments, but in the feeling of calm that lingered after the storm. The Empire was gone, but its stories became stars, reminders of lessons learned. 80. the echo of breathing. There are moments, even now, when the galaxy seems to pause. In the hum of a reactor, the sigh of the wind through steel corridors, the low thrum of a ship passing in the night. Some swear they can still hear it. That steady, mechanical rhythm. The breath of the machine that once walked among them. But in this echo, there is no fear anymore, only memory. The sound has changed, softened. Less a warning, more a heartbeat of history. It reminds those who listen that power is fleeting, but redemption endures. The breath that once haunted the stars now drifts peacefully through them, a lullaby carried on the current of the Force itself. 81. The child who dreamed of stars. And somewhere, in the endless weave of the Force, the story returns to where it began. To a boy beneath twin suns, looking toward the sky. His name was Anakin, and before destiny found him, he dreamed simply of flying, of touching the stars he saw each night. That dream never truly died. It carried through the fire, through the shadow, through the breath of the machine, until it found freedom once more in the light. The Force, ever patient, never forgot the child who reached for hope. And though his journey was long and his fall was deep, the dreamer among the stars finally came home to peace. 82. The father who found peace. In the stillness of the Force, Anakin Skywalker finally found rest. No longer torn between duty and desire, between light and shadow, he simply was. One with the current that flows through all things. The fear that once ruled his heart had dissolved, replaced by the quiet joy of understanding. He felt the presence of Padme, warm as sunrise, and the laughter of his children carried through the stars. The pain, the armor, the endless struggle, all had fallen away like dust in the wind. Now he was father, guardian, and spirit, watching over the galaxy he had once helped to break. At last, the dream that began beneath twin suns had found its eternal dawn. 83. The restored balance was not a victory, but a return. A gentle settling of the galaxy after years of chaos. The light and the dark no longer waged war. They danced instead, two halves of the same song. Through Anakin's journey, the Force had remembered its purpose, to create harmony, not dominance. Jedi and Sith had both misunderstood, chasing control instead of calm. But in the end, balance came through compassion. The act of saving his son, born from love rather than power, rippled across eternity. The Force grew still once more, its music softened, and somewhere in that silence, the prophecy fulfilled itself, not as a battle cry, but as a sigh of peace. 84. The Force beyond death. Beyond the veil of time, the Force moves like an ocean, vast, endless, alive. Here, the souls of the luminous dwell, shining softly in currents of memory. Anakin walks among them now, free from the burden of names and wars. He is part of the stars, the wind, the flicker of life in every being. The Force is not heaven nor exile. It is the great continuum, the rhythm of existence itself. Every being who listens can feel it, in breath, in stillness, in love. And when the galaxy dreams, it dreams through the Force, through the quiet presence of those who became light, whispering softly that nothing, not even death, can end the story. 85. The star that never fades. Every age of the galaxy has its heroes, but few shine as endlessly as the one who fell and rose again. Anakin Skywalker became more than man, more than myth. He became a light woven into the very fabric of the cosmos. His journey was a reflection of all things: hope and despair, loss and redemption, fire and peace. When the Force breathes across the stars, his story moves with it, not in legend alone, but in feeling. He is the flicker before dawn, the calm after thunder. And though centuries may pass and empires may crumble, that light remains. The Force does not forget those who return to it. And so, the star that was Anakin never fades. 86. The meaning of the Chosen One. For generations, Jedi scholars pondered the prophecy. The Chosen One, who would bring balance to the Force. Some believed it meant the destruction of the Sith. Others thought it spoke of perfect peace. But the truth was gentler, deeper. The Chosen One was not a warrior's title, but a teacher's reminder. That balance is not found in conquest, but in compassion. Anakin fulfilled that prophecy, not through power, but through love, through the choice to save his son, even at the cost of his life. The Force did not seek perfection, it sought harmony, and in his final act, the prophecy became clear. Balance begins the moment we forgive ourselves. 87. The nature of the Force. The Force is both whisper and thunder, creation and quiet. It binds every living thing, moving unseen through the smallest breath and the widest galaxy. To some, it is a mystery. To others, a friend. It does not judge or punish. It simply is. Light and dark are not enemies within it, but currents of the same vast ocean, forever flowing, forever learning. Anakin's journey revealed this truth, that the Force, like life itself, is meant to be felt, not controlled. It is in every heartbeat, every sigh of wind, every star that burns and fades. When we listen closely enough, we can hear it, the hum of eternity, gentle and infinite. 88. The shadow and the flame. The story of Anakin Skywalker is a tale of fire, of the light that guides and the flame that consumes. The same passion that made him strong also led him into darkness. Yet within that shadow was always the potential for renewal, for from fire comes both destruction and rebirth. The Force never abandoned him, even when he lost sight of it. It only waited, patient and eternal. Every being carries that same duality, shadow and flame, love and fear. It is not the absence of darkness that brings peace, but the courage to walk through it. And so, in the end, the fire that once burned him also illuminated his path home to the light. 89. The cost of power. Power, as Anakin learned, is never free. It tempts with promises of control, of the ability to change destiny, but its price is always the self. In seeking to save others, he lost himself to the hunger of command, to the illusion that power could protect love. Yet the galaxy teaches through loss, and the Force through humility. When he finally surrendered power, he discovered what it truly meant to be strong. The greatest strength is not in domination, but in compassion, not in the hand that strikes, but in the one that lifts. His life became a mirror for all who sought greatness, showing that only when power bows to love can the soul be free. 90. The fragility of hope. Hope is a fragile thing, a candle flickering in the wind of war and fear. Yet it is also the most enduring force in the galaxy. Through the rise and fall of empires, through the endless night, it survives. Anakin's story reminds us that even when hope seems lost, it is never gone. Luke carried that flame when the galaxy had forgotten it. Padme believed in it even as she faded. And in the end, Anakin himself became its protector, proving that redemption is possible for all. Hope does not roar, it whispers. It is the quiet belief that tomorrow will bring light again, and that even the darkest heart can still remember how to shine. 91. The love that endured love was the thread that wove Anakin's entire life. Fierce, consuming, unbreakable. It was love that made him dream of the stars, love that led him to protect those he cherished, and love that finally redeemed him. Though it once burned like wildfire, untamed and destructive, in the end it softened into something pure. Across the veil of death, that love remained. For Padme, for his children, for the galaxy he had once scarred. The Force itself seemed to hum with that tenderness, for love is the energy from which all life flows. Empires crumble, stars fade, but love endures beyond time. It is the truest strength of the Force, the quiet heartbeat that binds the galaxy together. 92. The fall that saved the galaxy. In the vast rhythm of the Force, even tragedy serves its purpose. Anakin's fall, though filled with sorrow, became the very path through which balance was restored. Without the shadow of Darth Vader, the light of his redemption would never have shone so brightly. Through pain, the galaxy learned compassion. Through loss, it rediscovered faith. His story became a mirror for all who seek forgiveness. Proof that even the deepest fall can lead back to the stars. The Force does not discard the broken, it remakes them. And so, the fall that once doomed worlds became the bridge that saved them, carrying the galaxy from despair to dawn, from darkness to the gentle promise of peace. 93. The circle of balance. The Force, ever eternal, flows in cycles, life and death, rise and fall, shadow and light. Anakin's story was one turn of that endless circle, a reminder that balance is not a destination, but a living motion. The light cannot exist without its shadow, nor can the dark endure without the whisper of hope. His journey, from boy to monster to savior, reflected that truth perfectly. The circle turned, and through his son, it continued. The legacy of balance reborn in every generation. When one star fades, another ignites, and the harmony of the cosmos endures. The Force breathes on, patient and unending, reminding us that every ending is only the beginning of another light. 94. The light that waits. Even in the deepest darkness, the light never truly disappears. It waits, patient and eternal, like dawn behind the horizon. The Force is filled with such quiet promise. For Anakin, the light never abandoned him. It lingered, gently watching, waiting for him to look back. It waited through his rage, through his silence, through the long years of servitude beneath the Emperor's shadow. And when at last he opened his heart again, even for a single moment, the light rushed in as if it had been there all along. It teaches us that redemption is never out of reach, that no one is too far gone to be found. The light does not chase, it simply waits, endlessly, lovingly. 95. The voice of the Force. The Force speaks softly, never shouting, never demanding. It moves through intuition, through dreams, through the smallest of choices. To those who listen, truly listen, it sings. For Anakin, its voice was always there, in the whisper of the desert wind, in the hum of a lightsaber, in the heartbeat of those he loved. But it was only when he silenced his fear that he finally heard it clearly. The voice of the Force is the voice of life itself, calm, compassionate, infinite. It does not command, it invites. It reminds every living being that they are part of something vast, connected, and kind. And when the galaxy grows quiet enough, its song can still be heard among the stars. 96. The memory of the Skywalker. Through time and legend, the name Skywalker became more than a person. It became a symbol. It spoke of courage and destiny, of failure and forgiveness. Anakin's life, and the lives that followed from his, marked turning points in the story of the galaxy. His children carried his legacy forward, each in their own way, one through hope, the other through compassion. And though his time as Darth Vader cast a long shadow, his redemption illuminated everything that came after. The Skywalker name became a reminder that the Force flows through all generations, imperfect, radiant, human. In the end, the memory of Skywalker became not a warning, but a lullaby, one of love rediscovered and peace restored. 97. The eternal breath. In the vast silence between stars, there is a rhythm, steady, endless, and alive. It is the breath of the galaxy, the same pulse that once moved through Anakin Skywalker and all who came before. Life and death are not opposites in the Force, but moments in a single. Inhale and exhale. The wind across Tatooine, the tide of Naboo's lakes, the hum of hyperspace, all carry that same eternal rhythm. It is the sound of being, of connection, of the Force itself breathing through everything that exists. Though Anakin's body faded long ago, that breath continues, gentle and patient, in every star that glows and every soul that dreams. The Force inhales, the Force exhales, and eternity endures. 98. The galaxy at rest. After the fall of empires and the rise of peace, the galaxy settled into quiet reflection. The stars no longer burned with war, but shimmered like memories of what once was. Planets scarred by battle began to heal, their skies blue again, their rivers running clear. Amid the stillness, the Force sang softly, a lullaby of renewal. Across the cosmos, beings rebuilt not just their homes, but their hearts. The story of Darth Vader became one of warning and wonder, told under starlight as a lesson in forgiveness. Peace, fragile yet beautiful, returned to the galaxy. And for the first time in generations, the universe itself seemed to sigh, not in fear, but in relief. 99. The dream of peace. In the quiet of the Force, all things return to harmony. Peace is not an end, but a dream the galaxy keeps alive, tender, imperfect, everlasting. Somewhere, children still look up at the stars, dreaming of flight, unaware that their stories echo the same dream that once began on Tatooine. The Force moves through them, as it always has, reminding each soul that light follows darkness and love follows loss. The galaxy dreams, and through that dream, Anakin Skywalker's spirit drifts like starlight, gentle, infinite, at rest. His journey has become the galaxy's song, whispered through time. And as that melody fades into stillness, the Force smiles, balanced once more, eternal and serene. 100. The Force is one. In the end, all stories return to the same source, the living breath of the Force, where light and dark are not enemies, but reflections of each other. Every life, every world, every heartbeat is part of this vast, eternal current. Anakin's story, like so many before and after, flows within it still, not as a tragedy, but as harmony restored. The boy who dreamed beneath twin suns, the knight who fell, the father who rose again, all are one within the song of existence. The Force does not end, nor begin. It simply is, timeless, infinite, at peace. And as the stars shimmer quietly in their endless dance, the galaxy sleeps in balance once more. The Force is one, and it is home. And as our long journey through the galaxy comes to rest, may the Force bring balance to your mind and peace to your dreams. If these stories have helped you drift among the stars, remember to like, subscribe, and share which Star Wars tale you'd love to fall asleep to next. When you're ready to keep dreaming, tap the end screen to begin another bedtime voyage and fall asleep beneath the quiet glow of twin suns. Rest well, traveler. The Force will guide your dreams.